I want to bring up this story from the other day. It's many of you may have seen it. Trump and Bill O'Reilly got booed after telling audience they got booster shots. And then Trump is like, no, don't do that. You're playing in your hands, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what's funny about this story is that many on the left are like, haha, Trump got boosted. And I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not mad. I don't care. He's an older guy. Maybe that made sense for him. Sure. But they live in this bubble world where they think all of Trump's supporters are in a cult.
Yes.
All of his voters are cultists. Meanwhile, it's like most of his base is kind of like, whatever. And then some are like, that's stupid, and they boo him. But I don't know. I don't care. Bill O'Reilly can Trump. They can do whatever they want. But this actually debunks a lot of that narrative. So that's why I just think it's funny. Shouldn't they be like, wow, hey, wait a minute. I was told that Trump's base are all a bunch of zealot MAGA QAnon people. But there are actually people who aren't agreeing with him, and he himself is vaccinated, is boosted. There's a disconnect between Trump's supposed to be this cult leader, right?
Right.
Well, being the genius marketer that he is, as soon as that little pocket of booze happened, he goes, very small group of people right over there. Anyway.
Right, yeah.
But also, during his speech, he was making a lot of assertions based off no data, no information at all. He said, this would have been like the Spanish flu if it wasn't for me. We got to take credit. I want credit. We got credit for doing this. What did you do? After your product that you streamrolled and you threw a lot of money into got out there, what happened? Cases got up, deaths have gone up. What are you dancing on? Like, how are you going to be making all these assertions? And a lot of people aren't happy with his statements. And I think, his statements and what he did with Dr. Fauci is going to lead to a situation where a lot of his supporter base, I think legitimately, is not going to be following him. Now, the corporate media saying that he's an anti-vaxxer and all of his followers are anti-vaxxers, again, it's just hyperbolic dribble because he's clearly on a different side and clearly not afraid to express those ideas.
You see that interview he did where he said he didn't fire Fauci because the left would have lost it. And then a bunch of people on the right were like, Trump admits he didn't fire Fauci because he was scared of the left.
The left already lost it a number of times during his entire presidency with absolute nonsense.
Trump should have realized, the people around him should have realized, hey, you can't appease any of these people.
Yep.
They want war.
But there might be something else hanging in the balance here because today we also found out that Trump flew on Epstein's planes 6 more times than previously believed. So if you're hanging out with Epstein, who's an extortionist, who's a blackmailer, there could be also something else happening behind the scenes that could translate into this kind of misunderstanding. And Trump, pushing a lot of policies that are very in favor of the establishment that essentially do hurt the general public and the middle class.
I like the conspiracy theory that Trump was part of the establishment the whole time because what he was able to do as a candidate was get people like Alex Jones to support a Republican candidate for the presidency and to get a whole bunch of the people who are not attached politically to join the political fray, join a party and become part of that system. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And when it comes to politics, it's dirty. There's a lot of other things happening behind the scenes. There's a lot of special interests. There's a lot of multinational corporations throwing around a lot of money. There's a lot of blackmail going around as well. So I don't think we're seeing the full actual story here of what's actually going on. And that's just my own perspective. I could be wrong. Prove me wrong if you think I'm wrong. But again, what Trump has done is something that I haven't been supportive of. I've criticized him ever since he sat down with Henry Kissinger. He promised a lot. In my opinion, he definitely under-delivered, but that's my perspective. I know a lot of people are going to be disagreeing with me, but that's okay. That's your perspective. Prove me wrong with some data and some facts. But that's how I saw it myself personally. And I think a lot of other people who are paying attention to the news, to the reality of the situation, are also feeling the same way because how can you not, especially with, Julian Assange, which was the
Trump,
kind of cherry on top.
Right. But Trump was just an imperfect avatar for people's anger.
Right.
So when Bernie Sanders lost, a lot of Bernie supporters voted for Trump. And this is something that the progressives will never want to admit, but it's true. I was in Anaheim, California, and there were 3 dudes. One was older, 2 were younger. And they were explaining that they were Trump supporters, but they were Bernie supporters until Hillary stole the, they say until the DNC, went in favor of Hillary. We'll put it that way. And they got physically attacked. The people there started attacking them, and they were running, and they were spitting on them and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's really amazing. This guy said he was a Bernie supporter. He said he felt Bernie had more experience, that Bernie was a politician and Trump was not, and that Bernie would know how to navigate these systems. Bernie was in favor of border security. Bernie was in favor of helping the working class. But as soon as Hillary came in, he was like, nope, Donald Trump's the answer because, You know, with Hillary Clinton is going to be open borders. Hillary Clinton is going to be all of the worst things: war, conflict, you know, extracting our jobs and placing them overseas. Trump was the only option.